What's going on, guys? ChillisFM here. I finally found my Great League team for this season. It took a long time. I've copied a lot of other people's teams. I've tried a lot of things on my own and I just couldn't find anything to work for a long time, but finally we have found one, and it took me all the way up to the 3200s. Actually, like what, 130 ELO gained on the day. Of course, that's with 10 sets, and I did play a little bit of Master League in between, which I went down and then right back up. But most of the gains were from this team. So what is the team? Well, on the lead, we are going to be running Galarian, traditional moveset, Wing Attack, Sandslash, Earthquake. As my safe swap, Registeel. Y'all know I love myself some Registeel on the safe swap. It's very solid. You can grab shields from just about everything. And then as my closer, Deoxys Defense. Not one that I've run a lot on this channel, but I think it works really well with Galarian. It's a fighter that can handle the fairy types very well, especially things like Azumarill, things like Alolan Ninetales, which are probably the two most common fairy types, which Galarian doesn't love to see. And of course, it handles all the ice types as well, since it has counter. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump on into some of these battles. This is a little bit of a longer video, so if you can leave that like, it is very helpful. Helps the algorithm out. Leave your favorite emoji down below as well. Let's get it going. All right, first battle. We have Galarian up against an Obstagoon Lead. Now, with Galarian, I don't like to bait a lot, but Obstagoon is one of the few that I will occasionally bait against. Just because of two Nightslashes do nearly take out. You could make it a double Earthquake before they do take you out, but most of the time they're going to shield the first one anyways. I end up baiting and they catch on Noctowl anyways, so this is perfect. That puts this Noctowl into single Zap Cannon range. Whereas normally you have to do a hard lock-on farm down, and if they have a really good IV Noctowl, they can actually threaten a shield from your Registeel if you try to lock on farm down. So we're going to build up to 100 energy, knowing that Obstagoon is going to be coming back in. I'm going to go for the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon does take out. In comes the Obstagoon. I should be able to make it to a Focus Blast easily. I actually go for the Zap Cannon because who's not going to shield here? And Zap Cannon is going to nearly take out anyways. And even if they go Crush Drop, which they do, doesn't KO Registeel nice and bulky. I'm gonna get this Zap Cannon off. And of course, it does grab a shield. So now I can bring in Deoxys Defense, do double super effective damage with all the counters. I do take super effective damage from the Nightslash, but you don't want to shield the first one in case they do boost. So first one, gonna do about a third of Deoxys' health. And then they're going to come out with a Charm Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Now, I'm expecting a shield right here, so I am going to, again, bait. I bait a lot in this first battle. I promise I don't bait that much normally, but it's going to grab the shield, and then we could just come in with Galarian, throw this Earthquake, and that's going to be game. Because at this point, I do still have 2 shields. This Goon's just not going to be able to make it to 3 Nightslashes. And even if it does, I'm just going to counter down with Deoxys and make it to a Thunderbolt. So I decided to go ahead and throw up a shield because I am at the Earthquake here. It's just going to be the quickest way to wrap up the game. Earthquake coming through. Easily going to be taking out the Obstagoon. That's going to be GG's. Well played to my opponent. Let's go. Alright. Jumping into the second battle, going to have Galarian up against a Shadow Skuntank. So this is a positive lead. We are resisting all the poison type moves thanks to Galarian's ground typing. They're going to be swapping out into Sableye. Now I don't have a hard answer for Sableye, and I would like to keep alignment here. So I'm going to be staying in with Galarian. And I never ever bait against Sableye. I baited one time against a Sableye and they no shielded. Every single one has no shielded. The Earthquake will nearly one-shot. We're just going to do that. And actually, this one it does take out. They come back in with the Shadow Skuntank, and I thought I could make it to another Quake. Unfortunately, I can't. So I go for the Nightslash. I'm hoping that they miscounted and they think this is the Quake, but they actually do no shield. That's fine. I can still align my Registeel on the Skuntank. We're double resisting all the poison jabs. We will take super effective if they have Flamethrower, but it's non-stab. It doesn't one-shot by any means, but it does put me in crunch range. Now, make it to the Zap Cannon right there. They are going to be throwing the Crunch. I got to throw up a shield. Otherwise, I'm going to have to counter this down with my Deoxys. And I really don't want to sack a full Pokemon. So I am going to throw up a shield. I'm going to go for the Zap Cannon. I think my opponent makes a misplay here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it a little bit. They let their Skuntank go, but they should have been able to read pretty easily that I was weak to Skuntank in the back. And here's why. They led with Skuntank. Galarian is obviously a good answer, so they swapped out. They come back in with the Skuntank. I let their Skuntank farm down my Galarian to be able to align that Registeel on it. If I had 2 answers for their Skuntank, then I would have swapped out into my Registeel instead of getting farmed down with my Gliscor. So that was a pretty easy read, I would think, for my opponent. Just wanted I'm not trying to throw shade at my opponent by any means, but I did want to educate my viewers. If you see your opponent playing like I played, just be aware that you probably don't want to throw away that lead. Anyways, Medicham in the back, no problem for Deoxys. We're going to be able to grab both shields right there with double Psycho Boost. I say no problem. We barely make it to this Focus Blast, and the Focus Blast will be enough to take out the Medicham. That's going to be GG's. It still ended up really close. I didn't use my final shield. Probably should have used it at some point. I was really trusting in my Registeel to get there. We barely did. Alright, another poison type lead in the next one, Shadow Nidoqueen. They swap out into Scrafty. This is what's great about Gliscor. It's a good core breaker for a lot of teams. So we are going to go ahead and stay in here for a little bit. I'm going to eat this first foul play. I'm going to build up and I'm going to go for the quick. You don't want to beta Scrafty, right? Nightslash is double. Oh, that's right. I'm losing my mind here. We go for the catch, actually. We go for the catch here. Yes, foul play is super effective, but if you play this right, if they don't make it to another foul play, you get the counter down. If Nidoqueen comes back in, you have Psycho Boost loaded. And if it's another dark type in the back, then guess what? We're going to be doing super effective damage with our counters. So Nidoqueen does come back in, which pretty much tells me there's another dark type, likely Obstagoon. Going to go ahead and dump these Psycho Boosts. The first one does grab the shield. Second one will be doing a lot of super effective damage for a very debuffed move that does a lot. And then my opponent ends up throwing energy as well. This is a great spot to be in. They're not quite in Nightslash range, but I don't really want to dump all my energy. We don't really want Registeel on this. So I am going to come in. I'm going to throw Nightslash with my Gliscor. They decided to eat it. I'm not going to quite get the farm down. So I decided to catch this Poison Fang. In hindsight, not the smartest play, right? I'm expecting Goon in the back. We shouldn't catch that. So Goon comes in. There's really only one way that I still lose this, because I can make it to double Focus Blast before they make it to 3 moves. And the only way that I lose this is if they boost off the first Nightslash. And of course, they boost off the first Nightslash. So now we are going to fall just short of the Focus Blast. I should have gone Zap Cannon after I saw the boost. To be honest, I should have gone for Zap Cannon and looked for that debuff. But I was really afraid that they would no shield, expecting the Zap Cannon. Anyways, my opponent takes the win there. 9 times out of 10, you're going to win that game. It's all right. All right, Medicham Lead. So this is a little bit more awkward because of Medicham, of course, has Ice Punch. Same thing with Poliwrath. The Ice Punch does hit for double super effective. It does not one-shot. It does like between 50 and 60%. I do like to throw up a shield on the first one, though. And I like to go straight for the Earthquake. If they no-show this, they will barely reach another Ice Punch, and you can do what you want. You can try to catch it. That's normally what I do. I actually catch this one anyways, even though the Earthquake didn't connect, because they're in single Zap Cannon range. And Reggie still wins the zeros here. In general, we're going to make it to 2 Zap Cannons, unless they get the Psychic debuff, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and throw this Zap Cannon here. That does grab the final shield off my opponent. And yeah, I think they have to throw again, right? Okay. So they actually decided to go for the catch. They do catch the Focus Blast, which is impressive, to be honest. They catch it on Carbink. That's perfectly fine. It does hit for neutral. Both moves hit for neutral. I can come in with Gliscor and I can nuke this thing with an Earthquake, or I can come in with Deoxys Defense and I can build up some energy. I'm reading that my Gliscor is strong in the back, just because they stayed in that matchup with Medicham for so long, even though it's not a great matchup for Medicham. So I'm thinking, you know what, let's take this out with Deoxys. Let's keep Gliscor as healthy as possible, and we'll see what happens. So I am going to throw back-to-back Psycho Boost after building up to near 100 energy. And I'm going to be hard swapping out into my Gliscor, and in the back it's going to be Toxapex. So yes, good read. Gliscor is very strong against their back Pokemon. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake. Their Switch Clock shouldn't have been up. That's the reason I wanted to throw that as quickly as possible. And at this point, I can just, well, okay, I could let this go and try to get to Psycho Boost. I think that probably would have been the better play, right? Yeah, let that go. I don't know, because the poison jabs would have added up. So maybe that was the right play. Maybe that was the right play. So I ended up overfarming just slightly. New Medicham had a little bit of energy, so we throw the first Cycle Boost to take out the Medicham. All we have to do now is outpace this Toxapex. Yeah, so this, the way I played it here was perfectly fine. So yes, going for the Cycle Boost, this will be taking out the Toxapex, and that's going to be GG's. Well played. Well played, well played. Yeah, thinking it back now, like the poison jabs would have just done too much to Deoxys, so that's why I made that play. All right, Bastiodon. This is my favorite lead. The first day I played this team, I didn't lose to a single Bastiodon. I lost to a couple since then. I've been playing this team since Friday. It's Sunday now. Just now got around to recording the video. It's actually my Greninja community day right now. I'm missing part of it to get this content out for you guys. So again, if y'all could leave that like, I really appreciate it. Anyways, so we love to see Grass Hole with this team, right? Because of Gliscor beats everything on Grass Hole. Registeel can grab shields from most things on Grass Hole, with the exception of the Shadow Vic. Normally, well, I guess not this case, because we do make it to the second. I think it's just they stayed in for a second with the Bastiodon, right? We're gonna go ahead and come in now with Gliscor, throw the Sandslash, because I think there were two Razor Leafs away from the next Leaf Blade, so I wanted to make sure that my counts were wrong. I just throw it immediately. In the back, going to be a Wigglytuff. So this is like supposedly the most toxic team out there. Just easy claps for this team. We're gonna land that Earthquake. We're gonna counter down. Even if the Earthquake didn't land, we'll just throw Thunderbolts and Cycle Boosts. So GG's. All right, let's talk about Steel type leads. Right, this is one of the things that make this team so strong. And yeah, I know Bastiodon was just a Steel type lead, but in general, Steel type leads. You have 2 going on 3 answers. Gliscor loves Steel type leads, loves them. Deoxys defense loves Steel types. Registeel is pretty neutral into most Steel types. Most Steel types can fight back against other Steel types. So like, for example, the Galarian Stunfisk matchup, you're going to land a Focus Blast, but it is a winning matchup for the Galarian Stunfisk just because they tank it so well, and then they can always Mud Shot, Rock Slide after they land the Earthquake. Anyways, you can tank 3 Rock Slides with Gliscor, so that's what I do. They do end up making a nice catch onto their Azumarill. That's perfectly fine. They get 1 bubble. I could come in with Deoxys here. They should be close to Thunderbolt range. But I also know I can come in with Registeel, and I can actually overfarm just slightly here. And then I can go for the Zap Cannon before they are able to throw their Hydro Pump. So they decided to no shield. That means I have an energy lead. If that Galarian Stunfisk does come back in, I will be able to make it to the Focus Blast before they make it to the Earthquake. And that's exactly what happens. They come back in with Galarian Stunfisk. I'm just going to go straight for it. No reason to overfarm here whatsoever. No reason to try to catch. Let's burn this last shield, right? So we do burn the last shield. Now we can come in with Deoxys. In the back going to be a Trevenant. Normally this would be trouble for both of my back 2 Pokemon, but we have a 2 shield advantage. I'm going to just throw this first Cycle Boost. I wanted to make sure that I threw that before they were at a Shadow Ball, because that does put them in Zap Cannon range if I need it. It's not like we're ever going to counter down this Trevenant. They're at 12 Shadow Claws right now, which means they only have 1 chance to throw the Shadow Ball. This is just going to be another Seed Bomb. So we could just no-shield this. Seed Bomb did get a buff as far as damage goes this season, but it's just not enough to take out Deoxys defense. We're going to get this 3rd Cycle Boost off. This will be taking out the Trevenant. Now all we have to deal with is this Galarian Stunfisk. And now this is very obviously going to be a bait. And then it's not. So now I'm a little bit worried. Can we make it to the next Focus Blast? Yes. Registeel with 1 HP and a Dream makes it to the Focus Blast. This will be taking out the G-Fist, and that's going to be a GG's. Well played to my opponent. Let's go. All right, next one. Gliscor into Buzzwole. Great lead, right? We're doing double super effective damage with the wing attacks. They actually stay in for a little bit, and they come in with a Lantern. Gliscor does not mind seeing Lantern. Earthquake does not quite one-shot. You will have to use a shield in the zeros, or to play out the ones. You can't win the zeros. But we're going to go straight for the Earthquake. Like I said, I don't like to bait with Gliscor. They throw up a shield. That makes it a little bit more awkward for me, because I'm going to come in with Registeel, and now I still need 2 moves to connect. We're going to go ahead and eat this first move. It is going to be a Thunderbolt. I should be able to make it to 2 moves before they take out my Registeel, no matter what combination of moves they throw. We're going to go for the Zap Cannon, looking for the debuff, and we do not get it, unfortunately. That's still fine. I should make it to this next Focus Blast easily before they make it to a 3rd move. They need a Thunderbolt plus a Surf, right? Or 2 Surfs, very, very close. And I don't throw. That's a misplay. That's a misplay for sure. I'm hoping I survive the Surf, but we don't. So yeah, definitely throw your energy. That's very important. We're going to go ahead and commit to the counter down here. I counted 6 sparks, but it was actually 7. We're at the next Thunderbolt there. Yeah, my counts were just off. It's fine though, because they come back in with Buzzwole. I'm going to throw this first Psycho Boost. They're actually going to eat this, and they do survive. I'm just going to snipe with Gliscor. I don't want them to be able to lunge my Deoxys. Again, in the back, Toxapex. Toxapex, a lot more common now than it used to be. I decided to bait here, just because I full sent earlier. I figured they'd respect it, and they do. I'm not going to make it to the Earthquake, though. So we're going to just get the chip damage from this next Nightslash. That should put them in double Psycho Boost range, I think. Maybe it's better to go Thunderbolt into Psycho Boost. I think this will be double Psycho Boost range, but Toxapex also very bulky. So yeah, I decided to go Thunderbolt. I think that's the much more safe play. Yeah, Psycho Boost does a lot. But yeah, it's just safer to do it this way. They're not making it to 3 brines. So Psycho Boost coming through. Going to take out the Toxapex, and that's going to be GG's. Well played to my opponent. Let's go. All right, jumping into the next battle. Gliscor up against Deoxys Defense. All right, this is one I really need to talk about because this is one that I struggled against the first day. Y'all know this team. If you've been playing Great League, you know the team. It's going to be Deoxys, Dugong Safe Swap, and then there's 2 variations of the team. It's either going to be Shadow Alolan Sandshrew in the back, or it's going to be Umbreon in the back. Either way, when you see this Dugong, go into your Registeel. Do not go into Deoxys Defense, because if it is that Shadow Alolan Sandshrew, it just beats Registeel in the 2s. There's no way you win it in the 2s. There's no chance. There's no chance. So set yourself up for success. Go into Registeel. If it's Umbreon in the back, then you're still going to be doing super effective damage with the counters. You're still going to have some health on Gliscor to help finish it off. But if it's Alolan Shadow Alolan Sandshrew, you got to get to an Earthquake, right? And here it is, right? Sandslash. Was I saying Sandshrew this whole time? Sandslash. It's been a long day. It's 4 o'clock and I'm like, it's been a long day. So Duran comes, yeah, so I just try to call it, right? Because otherwise you can't win this. You just can't. We're going to go for the Zap Cannon, look for the attack drop. It's never going to matter though. The attack drop is worthless. Maybe we don't get Shadow Claw down because of it. They throw a great timing, right? They knew my counts. They go for the Duran to make sure. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do? I do short at the last second. I'm going to get this next Zap Cannon off, and then I'm going to pivot out. I'm going to try to make it to the Earthquake, right? And we're right there. We're right there. Very close battle. We almost make it, and that's going to be GG's. Well played. I think that as soon as I went into Deoxys against Dugong, it was just over. All right, so I did want to include Shadow Poliwrath as well. You only win the 2s here, and you still have to land the, well, Shadow, I think you can go straight Nightslash to win the 2s. The regular one, you do have to double bait, and then you have to land the Earthquake. They actually end up swapping out. They come in with Drapion. They throw immediately. We're going to go ahead and tank this. Doesn't really matter what it is. It's going to be the Crunch. And I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake. Might as well go for the kill shot. Probably double Dark Poison in the back, right? Going to stay in. I'm going to bank an Earthquake, and I'm going to catch this next Crunch. So they did, again, throw immediately here. We're going to bank the Earthquake in case there's another Dark Poison in the back. Plus, could be useful for that Poliwrath on down the line. Shadow Drapion can't really handle Registeel very easily. Probably in the 2s because it outspams it. But the 1s and 0s is very much in Registeel's favor. We're going to go for the Zap Cannon here. They are going to go ahead and let that go. Hoping I can make it to another move against this Poliwrath. Man, those counters do a lot. Not even close. We're not even close. But it's fine because we're able to now align Deoxys onto this Poliwrath. And if there's another Dark Poison, we got a little bit of health on Gliscor to help handle that. They build up some energy and they come in with the Shadow Skuntank. There it is. We're going to go for the Thunderbolt here. I really just need to burn their shield at some point. I realize that they're going to outpace though, and I don't want to CMP tie them. That's what they go for. Instead, we're going to throw up a shield and we're going to commit to the counter down. I should be able to counter down before they make it to another crunch. And that's exactly what happens. And now we got back-to-back Psycho Boost. We know they have a move on Poliwrath. We're just going to go for the catch. Go for the CMP sack swap. They throw, they win CMP. That's perfectly fine. All we have to do now is throw these back-to-back Psycho Boost. That's going to be taking out the Shadow Poliwrath. Again, Shadow kind of helped us out here. If this was a regular one, the second Psycho Boost might not be enough. We might have needed to go Thunderbolt and then make it to a Psycho Boost, which I don't think we would have. So yeah, Shadow definitely helping us out there. All right, Registeel Lead. So again, Steel types, right? We got 3 answers for it. Normally you love it. Normally you love it. Every once in a while I do fumble it and I misplay and I'll end up losing to a Steel type lead. But most of the time Steel type leads is going to be like, okay, this is an easier game. I bait here. Let me explain. You need both moves. You need a Nightslash plus an Earthquake to KO. And every Registeel that I've faced has shielded that first one. So sure. And you're gonna see, like, no, you're not gonna see. You're not gonna see because they're gonna throw up a second shield. The Maniac. I go for the. This is dirty. I had no business going for this catch. What do? We catch the Zap Cannon. They're gonna come out with Medicham now. Very common pairing, right? For there to be a Medicham behind a Registeel. I decide to... No, I don't decide to undercharge. My phone was just not responding. Yeah, so I ended up getting to it accidentally. I missed a bubble. It was fine. I'm going to come in with Deoxys now because I don't really want to have to shield this Ice Punch. And they go Psychic. So I'm guessing they're running Pup Psychic. Decided to eat this as well. Right, yeah. Deoxys is at half health now. I throw the Thunderbolt because I don't want to debuff myself. I want to be able to stay in with Deoxys. And out comes the Registeel. I'm not 100% sure what's in the back of this. I'm not. And I should be. Because, like, this is actually an easier read than I was thinking, because this is a pretty common team as well. We're going to go ahead and throw this next Earthquake. This is going to be taking out the Registeel in the back. It's going to be Bastiodon. All we have to do is make it to this Earthquake, which we do. Thankfully, we do, because if we didn't, then, well, we'd lose. Because even though the counters from Deoxys do double super effective into Bastiodon, they would just smack us down. So, anyways, they decided top left, and that's going to be GG's, well played. Gliscor into Shadow Alolan Sandshrew. Nightmare Lead, right? Nightmare Lead. We are going to swap out into Registeel, and we're always thankful when they swap, right? We're thankful when they swap because they could stay in, they could throw a drill run, then we have to decide, do we want to shield? I normally don't shield, to be honest. I just don't. I just play out the zeros. But they come in with Medicham anyways, which just makes my decision easier. We're going to go straight for the Zap Cannon against Medicham. We're not going to shield any of these power-up punches. We're going to make it to a Focus Blast. It would have been based on new mechanic if I made Zap Cannon. So I decided not to risk it. I think they're going to shield this anyways. They actually call it and survive. Are you kidding me? Like, that's nuts. That's nuts. So now I'm coming in with Gliscor, and I'm just going to go ahead and eat whatever they throw here. I'm thinking it's just a pup, and it is. So it does basically no damage. We're going to come in now with Deoxys. In the back, going to be a Azumarill. And then they swap out into these Sandshrew, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I no-showed this first one because they only built up to Ice Punch, I believe. And I get the full counter down. So now they have to bubble me down if they want to take me out. And I'm in a great spot. We're going to throw this first Thunderbolt. We're going to always throw a good timing. My opponent does not throw a good timing. Thank you, opponent. I Ice Beam coming through. We're going to throw this next Thunderbolt again at good timing. This should be grabbing the final shield from my opponent. And we're not going to make it to another Thunderbolt. So instead, I'm going to bank the Psycho Boost. I'm going to come in with Gliscor. We need to make it to an Earthquake, and then Psycho Boost should be enough to take out afterwards. And here's the really nice thing is Azumarill can never hold 2 moves. Even with Ice Beam is 55 energy. The max energy you can hold is 100. So they're always going to need at least 1 more bubble after throwing an Ice Beam. So they're just not going to be able to take out a Gliscor by bubbling down. That means Deoxys defense doesn't have to worry about winning a CMV tie by any means. We're just going to throw this Psycho Boost. And that's going to be GG's well played to my opponent. All right, we got one more battle. If we made it this far and you haven't left that like, do consider doing it. And consider subscribing to the channel as well. I really appreciate you. All right, Shadow Ninetales. Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Swampert save swap. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare because of, honestly, Gliscor doesn't like Swampert. Registeel doesn't like Swampert. Regular Swampert, Gliscor can win against. Shadow Swampert is a nightmare. I didn't include a Shadow Swampert lead because I didn't win against a Shadow Swampert lead. I did win against some regular ones. I guess I just didn't. They didn't make the video. I'm sorry. Yeah, normally like the regular one, I would bait. You end up surviving a Hydro Cannon, right? And then you can make the Earthquake. Anyways, if you have more questions about that, just ask in the comments. I'll try to explain it better. I have to like look back to see how I play it. Anyways, so they end up taking out my Registeel here. I'm bringing in my Deoxys. I'm going to soak this Hydro Cannon. I'm going to immediately throw this Psycho Boost. We were able to grab shields. I didn't expect them to bait, but they baited. That worked out for me. That was huge for me. They're coming in with the Sableye, and then they come in with the Ninetales, and we're just gonna outphase. We're gonna make it to this Earthquake by my Ninetales. And guess what? We're not in Shadow Claw downrange. We already seen how much the Earthquake does to a Sableye. So we're just gonna make it there as well. We're gonna go ahead and throw up a shield here. And Gliscor is going to clean house for us. This Earthquake will be taken out to Sableye, or put him very close. Maybe we can tag downrange. That's going to be GG's well played to my opponent. Got really lucky that they double baited. Shadow Swampert, you're going to need some luck, right? You're going to need some luck on your side. Anyways, that is the final battle. I know this video is already long, so I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members for your support. Until next time, this is ChillisFM reminding you to always keep pushing forward.